Guys, I appreciate you being here today. Thanks so much. I am doing this mega episode for pre-Thanksgiving. I have invited on a bunch, 5 to be exact, 5 of the people in my universe who have added a lot of value to me. And I think 5 people who can add a lot of value to you as well. And of course, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just something I like to stand out from the crowd a little bit. I like to do things a little bit differently. I like to have on some different people. And so these are a few that I've found just in the past few months or year. Certainly that I think can help add value to you if you're looking for new leads, you're looking for new opportunities, you're looking to do more deals. So our first guest today is Chris Logan. Chris, you are with Birddog Lead Machine. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, great. So thanks for having me again, Josh. Appreciate it. Love what you guys are doing here in the community. Birddog Lead Machine is basically a software that was born out of my love of calling on Birddog leads because they've always been great, juicy, amazing leads for our business. And the motivation we found in those types of leads has always been much higher than the average lead that you would get anywhere else. And so one of the things that kind of bogged me down though, and kind of frustrated me about the process is that, you know, it's brutal to get in your car and spend that time driving around. Even if you're doing it on your computer, you're looking, whatever. I mean, it just takes forever, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, some days you may find houses, some days you may not. And if you're a one-man shop, or even if you're working a corporate job or something like that, a W-2 job, I mean, your time's already limited as it is. So, you know, a lot of big reason why real estate investors don't have consistency when it comes to Birddog marketing is simply because they're doing everything themselves and they're not leveraging other people's time, energy, and effort. So what I did is I basically, I did a lot of marketing for this. Like in the very beginning, I was putting out signs, the calls were all coming to me. I was trying to script the process and everything like that. And what I found is I was spending like, you know, hours on the phone with these guys that wanted to pick my brain. And there's just a lot of back and forth conversation with these guys that I'd recruit that were interested in the opportunity. And so I was like, man, I gotta figure out how to streamline this and take me out of the picture. And as most of you guys know on the call, and I know you know this, Josh, is that one of the biggest things that can bog you down in your own business is if you're personally involved in every aspect of it and you don't truly start to scale until you take a step back, right? And then have systems, processes, and people in place to kind of take over, right? And so what I did is I said, that is exactly what I have to do to this lead generation strategy. Nobody's done it before, and I'm gonna figure out a way to streamline it, make it easy, make it scalable, so it could take the same amount of time to train one Birddog or 1,000, it doesn't matter, right? Really? And so that's when the idea for Birddog Lead Machine came out, and I was just like, I gotta get it. So I built it out kind of a techie background. So I built a lot of it out myself. And then I got to a point where it just really exceeded my expertise and I had to bring on a developer. We put together this an amazing idea. I started off seeing first if other investors could duplicate the results that we have. We've generated over 2,000 property leads and a little over 1,000 Birdogs. And so I wanted to see if it was duplicatable. So what I did is we set up a few users or a group of users for beta testers. They did it. They got amazing results within a very short period of time. And at that point, I knew I had something. And I was like, man, I got to share this with other people.
Dude, there's two big, I've been thinking about this. You were on the show, what, 2 weeks ago? Or maybe
yes.
There's two big reasons why I think that this is going to be a big hit. One is that you're putting a supercharger at the top of your lead funnel. You're enabling other people, you're leveraging other people to go find you leads. So as fast as you can scale the amount of people at Birddogs, right? The faster you can scale and to put leads into the top of your funnel. So it's no secret that if you get more leads and you're able to qualify them and you have a consistent sales process, you're gonna do more deals, right? So that's number one. So you threw a supercharger or turbocharger at the top of your sales funnel, which I think is amazing. The second thing is this cannot be just replicated super easy without you. In terms of someone can go out and try to recruit a bunch of Birddogs, right? But they're going to be bogged down. But this is between human intervention and technology. When you can just pick up a text message platform and blast out a bunch of text messages, everyone else can too. So competition goes through the roof. I think competition here, I think will be a little bit lower, but you're walking this really fine line between the two of human intervention and technology. And I think it's just going to enable you to throw in a whole bunch more leads at the top, which I think is just incredible.
Absolutely. And the biggest thing we're giving back to real estate investors is freedom and time, right? Those are the two biggest things that we cherish. The reason we all get into this business in the very first place, right? We want more freedom and more time. But ironically enough, we get into the business and we work like 15-hour days and we grind it out, right? It's crazy. And so we say we want these things, we start this business to do this, and then we kind of structure our business in a way that doesn't allow us to have that. So one of the things that I've started to think about even more so the last several years, my wife and I are starting to think about kids and taking on the next stage of our life is, how can I take me out of my business even more, right? Yeah. How can I continue to step out, right? I mean, our company is pretty automated right now. We have 2 acquisition managers, 2 dispos. We have an in-house call center and some VAs and things like that. But the thing is we're constantly looking at how we can streamline things, and we're looking at all of our marketing channels. And this one was a big, big, big deal, because it was mainly like, for most investors, like, if I don't want to drive in my car, what are my options? Sure, I could do some other things, maybe Google Maps or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, having the real picture of that house and everything, it's just, there's a big difference in the quality of leads, right? And so, so that was one thing that we took, and we really applied it to this to make sure it could be as streamlined as possible, and we could help investors give back their freedom and their time. And that's huge. That's
so cool. So say someone is, well, who is this aimed for? Is this a new investor, you know, an experienced investor, expert, everyone? Who do you aim to work with Birddog?
Great question. So yeah, so there's 2 groups. Basically, it could be for the one-man shop who is simply looking to take advantage of Birddog leads, but maybe his time is not as available as he would need to do it himself 100% drive and everything like that, right? So the person who wants to take it in-house and just basically is a one-man shop and wants to bring in all the juicy leads and drive for dollars without doing any driving, right? Yeah. And then the other side, it's for the guy who has a big team that says, look, you know, I really want to scale this out. And I know the value of people leverage that it can have in my business because I've already done it. And I want to use that within this tool to grow this marketing channel that, you know, not many people are taking advantage of or are able to scale right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one that I've not done yet. I have like 1 or 2 guys that drive for dollars sometimes, but it's a sporadic kind of thing. And I know that I have to really crank it up here in the next year. So when someone hops onto your platform, how many leads, just say they're brand new, they've never done it, like I've never done it. How many leads do you think they can expect to get in the first month or 3 months or anything like that?
Yeah. So it really varies based upon, you know, how closely they follow the steps that we have. So we basically consider it not as just like a software product, but it's kind of like a marketing system as well, all in one. Everything's automated as far as the follow-up with sellers, just the training for the bird dogs and everything like that. So it comes down to how closely they follow the systems and processes. But if they follow everything, I mean, I would say it's not unheard of for someone to be able to bring in 30, 40 bird dogs in a week.
Wow. And then you're talking 1 to 2 leads each. Wow. Okay. So you're very quickly talking up into maybe 100 leads, 100 plus leads in the first month, something like that, right?
Yeah. If they follow the systems and processes, yeah, it's totally doable.
Very cool. So in your business, how are you defining when you're bringing on a bird dog? And I guess you're going over this in the training, but when you're bringing on a new bird dog, how are you training them for what a lead is, what you want and what you don't want, so they don't send you just garbage?
Yeah, great question. Because that was a really, really big struggle we had in the beginning. We were trying to scale this out before we had a system and process in place. People would submit like garbage, like REOs. They'd submit new builds that were vacant. Oh, you said submit a vacant property, you know. And they would submit like properties that were listed on the MLS, just pretty houses, all that. And so we had to create a system to give them like boundaries to operate within, right? So we give them a description of everything that we're looking for, the types of houses, what we're looking for, what we're not looking for. Here's some samples of some of the houses that we bought and were really great opportunities for our company. We'd recommend you to look at. And then we just kind of walk them through that. And that's part of the automated training that's within the system. And then once they have that, they just simply submit what we tell them to submit. And every now and then you get maybe like a retail strip center. But at the end of the day, we have things built within our system that if our lead manager within the system clicks a button, it basically lets them know, hey, that's not the type of lead we're looking for. So we're constantly conditioning them to submit the right types of leads.
Dude, that's really cool. And who have you found is there a certain prior occupation? Is there a certain personality type? Is there a certain something that makes someone successful as one of your best bird dogs here? or a certain place where you can recruit from, where you'll actually have more success?
Yeah, so we actually get a lot of our bird dogs off of Craigslist. That's one of the ways that we do it. It's a really overlooked marketing channel right now, with all the crazy technology that's out there right now. A lot of people are overlooking a lot of the simple things, and so that's one way. Finding people that are looking to make some extra money right now, whether that's on boards on Craigslist. That could be people in Facebook Marketplace. That could be anybody that is, putting a sign in front of like cash advance type places, right? All those types of places. And really, it's just people looking, we're in the gig economy. Everyone wants to make money from home or make money by staying like around home or just making money in their commute. Uber drivers finding out if they want to make additional money doing what they're already doing, right? So that's we have a lot of marketing built within the system to attract these types of people, and then they sign up and then they go through the training and then they just start submitting opportunity.
That's really cool. That's what one of the groups that I was thinking were Uber drivers, and I know some guys here locally that have found Uber driver and Lyft driver groups on Facebook. Yeah. Right, and they're reaching out to them to try to hire them for driving for dollars. Yeah, so it seems to me that with your system, you could kind of turbocharge that.
Yeah, and a little gold nugget here too is placing a sign at a Home Depot or a hardware store or somewhere there's a lot of contractors, because contractors can be amazing bird dogs. All they do is drive up and down streets all day long and repair houses, whether it's a roofer, whether it's a remodeling company, whether it's a painter, whatever the case may be. They're painting houses in most cases that need a little bit of love, right? They're fixing houses that need a little bit of love. And there's like 8 guys to a crew sometimes, right? So each one of those guys, if they're all looking for their own opportunity, I mean, that could explode really quickly. So it's just using people on leveraging people in their time,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, dude, I think this is a terrific idea. So if someone wants to hop on the platform, hire their own bird dogs, how do they get started here?
Yeah, great. So right now the system is in pre-launch phase. So we are about to launch here, I would say within the next 2 weeks. That's the goal. The website to go to, if you want to check it out, is bdleadmachine.com, spelled B as in bird, D as in dog, leadmachine.com. So bdleadmachine.com/LGU for Lead Gen Underground.
Dude, that's really cool. So I am going to be one of the early adopters here. I've been in your group. I'm going to be one of the early adopters. I am going to get it up and going, and then we're going to have another episode. I'd love to go through some leads and find out how it's really working in our market and report back with some other people. I think this is just going to take off this coming year. And I know a lot of people are looking for new marketing channels this year or to do things differently than other people. And I wholeheartedly believe that this is one of the ones that is going to take off in the coming year.
Very cool. Thanks. Me too, man. I'm really excited for you, and I'm excited for everybody else in the group and anybody who gets started with it, really, because it's just so different from everything that's going on right now. And there's so many channels that are just being slammed over and over and over and over again. So many lists that just over and over again. And I think investors need something different. And so that's 100%, what we're here to do.
100%. You got one more minute before we go and hop on to the next guest. Got anything else you want to share? Any other gold nuggets you love to drop?
Yeah. So let me think here.
Time's up. Just kidding.
That's a fast minute. Yeah, I mean, like systems and processes, I mean, there's no secret that is the secret to leverage in your business and having the time that we desire so much when we first step into this. And so all I would say is just to take a look at all the systems within your business, whatever those are, the tasks that you're doing daily. If you're seeing someone else do something, not just doing it to copy them and saying, okay, well, they're successful, so I'm going to do that too, right? Really ask yourself if it makes sense and just ask some deeper questions, because when you do that, it can open up new possibilities for you, just like this did for me with this system. Sometimes you can find a better way of doing something than other people have done. And don't get me wrong, like you don't want to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, sometimes you just got to ask yourself, is the wheel built the way it needs to be built to go as fast as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. Time and freedom, baby. Time and freedom. Yep. Well, Chris, thanks so much, guys. Go check out his website, bdleadmachine.com/LGU. It's something I'm hopping on. I think you guys will get a lot of value out of as well. I'm really looking forward to a bunch of you guys hopping on and then being able to compare results, because this is something completely new, or at least putting a new spin on something old and throwing a turbocharger on it. So super excited for you, Chris. Thank you so much for your time, my man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Happy Thanksgiving, my man. Talk soon.
Happy Thanksgiving. You too.
All right, guys, there's guest number one. We're going rapid fire today. So next, we're going to talk with my buddy and yours, Pozo. What is happening, brother?
What's going on, my man? How are you? Happy Thanksgiving.
So pumped to have you back. The last episode that we had you on with was definitely the most popular one we've had so far. Everyone has Propstream, and everyone has questions about Propstream, and everyone's trying to find the newest thing with Propstream. And it seems like Propstream is always coming out with new things. So give us the skinny on what's going on with Propstream, some of the newest things that are making people successful on your platform.
Yeah, well, thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me on. I'm going to also add that in a minute or two, we're going to have Burton, my partner in crime here, Burton Alicando, who's our senior product specialist. He's going to kind of walk you guys through a quick rundown of some new features. But we've been busy all year long, really just kind of working on the product, taking a lot of the feedback that we've been listening to from active investors out there in the market, what they need, what works, how do we expand, how do we make the data better. So we've rolled out an app. I'm sure those that are using Propstream right now have started working with it, but we're continuing to build on that, make that even better as we go into 2021. We have some exciting things for next year. We've brought in reinforcements to our team. We've actually grown this year, right? On such a crazy year, we've been able to grow. We brought on some reinforcements, so we have additional dev support. So we're going to be adding some cool features. Nothing I can really squeeze out of the bag yet for next year, but I promise you guys, especially those that have other applications that have always reached out to us and said, how do we kind of share this data? We'll have something hopefully for you, first half of next year. We'll be talking about that. So without further ado, I see the better looking one of my duo here, Burton. He's on here live. He's going to walk you through some of the updates that we've rolled out in the last month or two, and share them with you and how to enhance your list building, and also kind of how to find those niche markets, maybe for those virtual investors. I know this year's been crazy. A lot of us have kind of reassessed our business models, and some of us have reached out into some virtual markets. So with some of the filtering and the comping tools now that we have in there, it makes looking at other markets a lot easier. So without further ado, Burton, my man, I'll hand it off over to you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody. Again, I'm just going to show you guys all the new features that we just launched to help you guys build more niche lists, find more leads out there that you probably have been overlooking for a while. And then we have a new comp section too. So I want to shed light on that. So is there any way I can get the approval to share the screen by chance?
Of course.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, let me get my screen over to you guys. So from the get-go, let's talk about just some new filters that we added recently. Pretty much what you want to do is first, obviously, pull up a market. Let's just jump into Vegas, my last known search here. But in our filters, we added some new quick list choices. The 4 new quick list choices are senior owners. Essentially, as Paul mentioned, we're very aggressive with this data. We figured out methods to find properties that are most likely owned by senior owners. Some of you guys have already figured it out yourself, right? Applying years of ownership. But what we did was kind of enhance that by looking at the tax exemption that's being used on a property as well as the type of mortgage that's being used. So the senior list is going to find you most likely senior owners either because of 25 years of ownership, or they're using a reverse mortgage, or there's a senior citizen tax exemption on that property. So this is a great starting point, again, for those that are looking for potential leads that are looking to liquidate their portfolio.
I love this one here.
Vacant land is a little tricky. So here's the issue with counties. We were getting a lot of discrepancies, to say the least. When an investor would go to Vegas and go into our property characteristics and choose vacant land as a classification, they would come across this scenario right here, that the county flag it as a vacant land, but there's a building now developed on there, right? So if you're a vacant land investor and you're looking to give leads to your land developers, this isn't really something that you need. So what we did, again, go in there, clean up the data a little bit. We decided to extract and create our own vacant list. So what this does is we go into the data, the details, and make sure there's no property characteristics at all. at all. So all of these results that you see here are true vacant land, right? So great starting point. You don't have to deal with properties being built on top of that or anything like that. And then the last two, tired landlords. This is something many people were doing already. Essentially what this is really just non-owner occupied with 15 years of ownership. Now, a lot of investors out there didn't know that procedure, right? They heard the term tired landlord. They didn't really know. So we just kind of guided people into that direction. It's just tired landlords. These are non-owner occupied with 15 years or more in ownership. And then finally, we have zombie properties, something that's been known for decades in the industry. It's just kind of been kept quiet. But what zombie properties are properties that have pre-foreclosure and they're vacated. Essentially, no one's answering their mail at that resident at the same time. Reason why we're isolating this is, look, as investors, you know what the options are when someone goes into pre-foreclosure. These homeowners do not. Most of them, once they get that notice of default letter, they disappear. They move into a relative, they move out of state, sometimes out of country. This is why we're isolating them. So these 68 are actually within the 1,200, but you don't have to go in there, right? We're gonna isolate them directly for you. And then not only do we include these 4 filters, we added some extra filters within our existing area here. One of the new ones is the ability to look for unit number ranges. So if you're looking for properties in Las Vegas with, let's say, 10 to 20 units, you can do that, and it's going to isolate the properties with that many units. Numbers of stories is a big one as well. School district, whether it's in an HOA or not. We also gave you the ability to look for the failed listing date now. So you can look for properties that failed in the last 60 days, last 90 days. Also in the ownership info, this is a big one. We are allowing you to look for a certain tax exemption, as well as the numbers of properties owned. This right here, guys, has changed the industry. Because I'll give you an idea. You can look for, let's say, a senior owner, right? We're looking to potentially grab a property that they probably need to sell. But now we can turn one lead into multiple leads. So I want senior owners that are individual with maybe 5 to 7 properties under their portfolio, right? So now one lead has turned into potentially 4 or 5 or 7 others. And what's cool is that we've done the reverse engineering in the back end. So when you click on these properties, we have a new tab called linked properties. And it shows you all the properties that are associated to that tax address that in this case Juan is using. So these are the other properties that are also associated to Juan, who happens to be a senior owner. And if Juan obviously doesn't have a plan B for his portfolio, you might be the person that might turn that one lead into 6 other leads as well. So this is not only big to, again, garnish more potential leads, but it's also big when you use it on the other spectrum, right? I get a lot of people that ask, Burton, what's the best way to find cash buyers? I always say, well, hey, use our cash buyers list. But now you can use the numbers of properties to find the most aggressive cash buyers in the market. Dude, show me all the cash buyers in Las Vegas that are individuals like Paul and Joshua here that have maybe 15 properties or more under their portfolio, right? So these right here, guys, are the individual cash buyers that in this case have 110 properties under their LLC, right? So if you're looking for aggressive buyers, this is the way to go. And finally, the last update that we included is in our comparable section within the property details. We have a new category called flip comps. Again, we play with this data so well that we decided, what is it that we're really looking for, right? We'd like to see other properties that investors are flipping in the market, and that's what this category is. This is going to show you any property that has been bought and flipped within 24 months or less. And the reason why I personally love this list is it's going to show you when they bought it. So in this case, in 2018 in July, the purchase amount, their buying power, and when they flipped it. So they flipped it pretty much just shy of 2 years, and you can see the flip amount and their gross profit. Also, you can see the photos of the flip because most of them are going to be on market. So you can see the type of investor. Was it a rehab flip? Was it just something that was wholesaled? You can also go into the details of these flips and extract the MLS details, which is the agent's information. So if you can't get a hold of the buyer, let's get a hold of the agent by going into the MLS details and viewing that agent's information. Okay. So this one is packed with a lot of information. You can even control the flip link, right? I'm only looking for the flip properties that flip between 3 to 6 months, right? Someone like you guys. And here are the 9 properties that flipped within that 3 to 6 month process, what their purchase amount was, what their flip amount was, what their gross profit is. And again, most of them are going to have the photos included. So guys, these are the new features that we have. As Paul mentioned, the cherry on top is that we have the mobile app, pretty much all this data on the go with you. So you don't have to have printouts or your laptop anymore or a hotspot. We also embedded it with a very unique, very revolutionary driving feature. It's called Set Filters in Drive. So after you're done looking for distressed properties, you can set a filter and look for properties with 3 mortgages, properties that failed recently, properties with a lien, properties with an auction, using that Propstream mobile app. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I'm sure you guys have lots of questions. You can reach me and Paul either by calling our customer support line or visiting us on our social sites, or emailing us, support@propstream.com.
I mean, Burton's the master, guys. If you have anything that you guys are thinking or any suggestions, really, because the reason we've gotten to where we are is really listening to, you know, our member base, you know, the actual active investors out there that are running into the deals and have the specific needs to find what you're looking for. So I hope this is helpful for those that have Propstream. You know, I know there's always something being updated, right? So it's good to kind of highlight the new things that are there. And for those that aren't using Propstream, Josh has a link for you. I'm sure he'll post it somewhere. You guys can test it out. It's a free 7-day trial. Check us out. Use this if you're, you know, working on getting your first deal, or really, you know, if you're looking to maybe consolidate a couple of the tools that you're currently using. Plus, it's a nationwide platform, so you don't have to get stuck in your local market. You can actually do deals across the country. I do. I'm located in California, and I do deals in Florida and in the East Coast, and I use, you know, Propstream as my engine to do that business too. So
I also added, you guys are, timing is perfect, I suppose. Every Wednesday at 3 p.m., I do a breakout session for free. I dropped a Zoom link in the chat box. It's a free session. We have about 200 people already registered for it. We have about 300 seats left. But today's breakout session is about an hour long. It starts at 3 p.m. I'm just going to be focusing on the filters, all the filters, what they mean, how you can manipulate the data, and again, come up with some unique leads. And then the second half is marketing. So if you guys are interested in seeing what type of marketing elements we have, this would be a great opportunity to, again, just join, and you don't have to sign up. We encourage you to sign up. I'd probably recommend, why not jump in the trial period if you haven't, and then just follow along with the filtering that I'm going to be doing. And hopefully some of the criteria I share today, or some of the ideas I share today, can become your next lead down the corner, right? So thank you guys again for your time.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being such go-givers and sharing all the info with us. Some of my best lists have come from you guys. And continue to. So I really like some of the stuff you've done with the tired landlords, the seniors, and vacants have always been super for us. So guys, thank you so much. Paul, I appreciate it. Burton, I appreciate it. We got to hop on to the next guest, but thank you so much for being here with us today and adding so much value.
thank you, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Stay safe.
Thanks for having me.
Happy Thanksgiving. Talk to you guys soon. Awesome, guys. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Mr. Jason Palliser. Haven't talked to this guy in a little bit now, but it's always a pleasure because this dude is always adding in tons of value, and probably more than anyone else that I know is doing things in a different way. He's always looking for some new channels, and he can always add in some ninja tactics. So I'm excited for this conversation right here. Jason, what's up, my man?
Hey, how are you?
Dude, doing awesome. How are you?
Good. Just getting ready for Thanksgiving down here in St. Pete, Florida. So
there we
having
go.
fun.
So, okay. So tell me, how many different tactics are you using on the regular to generate new leads?
Yeah. So I was listening. They were talking about marketing a second ago, and you know, every time I hear that, my ears perk up. So we're up to 33 now. So people come to us and schedule what we call a 2-day blueprint, which is what you know. And we just take business owners and show them what we do for hedge funds. And so I like to clear, you know, like I like to cut through all the clutter like a hot knife through butter. And I think when we first talked, I don't know, a year or so ago, we were at 29/30. Now we're at 33 different techniques to get motivate homeowners to raise their hand so that we can be an opportunity to be a solution for them. Right. So we're at 33 right now.
Dude, that's awesome. All right, so everyone knows about the main ones: SMS, cold calling, RVM, SEO, pay-per-click, all these ones, direct mail. Everyone knows about these ones. Talk about one or two that maybe some people here aren't aware of, had never thought of, or didn't even really know you could use.
So I'm going to go, so I'll lay the foundation and preface it like this. Look, everybody that sees this, hears this, whatever, you all know the same things from the same probably 20 gurus, if that's fair to paint with a big brush, right? In fact, I have some of at our December blueprint, we have some of the bigger gurus that are coming to sit in, collaborating with me, like Bob Diamond, John Jackson, and you name it. There's like 3 or 4 of them coming, which is kind of fun. So I don't need to bore everybody with hey, get a vacant list, get a high equity list, right? Use Freedom of Information Act to get code violations, water disconnect, cease and desist. I think everybody knows that. And what everybody does is postcards, letters, and they are told to be consistent like a machine, like everyone in America does, right? So I'm going to hit you with some stuff that's way beyond. This is just one or two of 33 different things that we do. Because when we get paid by hedge funds, as you know, we've talked about it. When we get paid by hedge funds to average 40 homes a month, I have no choice. I have to average 40 homes a month for 30 months or whatever it is. They need 2,000 homes, 2,500 homes. So when we enter a city, just like we do for everybody listening here, when you do a blueprint, like we grab every deal in the marketplace. So some but you never do because it feels hard, right? So I'll give you a few of those. And then a few techniques to get people to respond, because this is all about, what is marketing? Getting people to respond to you. When there's a bunch of noise and everybody talking to everybody, they got to respond to you. So one thing is, and this is just way out in left field, and it works like a charm. And we actually had a client in our private 2-day blueprint members only Facebook group say, hey, it worked. Like, just like that, 3 weeks removed from our training. So I'm going to speak in terms of, you have a lead, and it's one that annoys you. We all have several that have annoyed us, like from the standpoint of good zip code, love the area. If I could ever get a deal anywhere in my city, this is the area that I want. But they don't respond. They don't respond to your text messages. Hey, I don't know if I got the right person or not. I can say all the shit that everybody knows, right? Hey, I don't know if I got the right person or not, but you might be okay, all that stuff, right? Postcards, letter, you're trying to hit them, they don't respond. Calls, voicemails. And so here's one thing that we teach people to do. If it's a hot lead and Josh's favorite zip code, one that he would love it and squeeze it and hug it, and we drop a for sale sign in their yard. Oh, Josh, what happens when you get home and there's a for sale sign in your yard and it doesn't have your phone number on it? What do?
You get real pissed. You're going to call that number.
You're going to call. You're like, hey, are you trying to sell? Oh, hey, hey, I apologize. I think somebody on my team might have put that in the wrong. So a lead that never ever responds to all your marketing efforts and techniques, boom, you put it for sale sign in the yard. I can almost guarantee that they are going to call you. And all we do is apologize our way out of it. Hey, I think somebody on my team put it in the wrong house. Hey, are you going to be home after 5 o'clock? You don't even, I'll come pull it out of the yard. I'm sorry. If you want to take it down, I'll grab it from you completely. And they're like, yeah, I'll be home after 5:30. Well, now I have an appointment.
That's pretty slick right there. That's pretty slick.
And so that's just one thing that we do. Another thing that people don't do because the cost wise. So we talk in terms, when we do a blueprint and there's 30 something techniques. We don't just teach you a technique that we know that wins because we tested it over 100 markets over a long period of time. Every variation of every postcard, letter, text, like we have it down to a science, right? But there's certain things that people don't do because the barrier of entry mentally for them keeps them out of that sandbox, which we like, our clients like, right? So one of them is bandit signs on wheels, meaning this. You put decals on the back of people's cars, say, hey, 24 cash offer for your property, 24-hour hotline call for information, full price cash offer, right? So those people drive the same places to work, to and from work every day. It's branding over and over. It's a bandit sign that cannot be taken down. But the reason people don't do it is they don't have, and if you hear this, hear me. hear me, and file this in a way in a new part of your brain. You don't do it because you don't have the logistics. That's it. If I solve the logistics for you of making that happen, people who willfully call while they're out in public and see something and call, that's a top 5 hottest lead you'll ever get from a person that might want to sell their house. You should never miss any of those phone calls, right? But you don't get them because nobody goes through the logistics of getting them on the car. Here's what happens. I would say $70, anywhere from $50 to $70 to have a decal company put a decal on a car and then a phone number with an extension on it, right? People don't do that because it might cost $50 to $70. So when we do a blueprint, we break down how to accomplish that same thing for as little as $4 to $5.
Dude, I love it.
So imagine getting 20 or 30 cars on the road. A gentleman that we worked with on developing it when I still owned the real estate software REI Black Book, he had 300 cars on the road. He literally cut out every other marketing channel. He's like 300 cars. I can't even keep up with all the phone calls. Dude, that's just another thing that people don't do. And the reason you don't do it is logistics. You don't know what things you have to put in place. So we get that cost for our clients down to $4 or $5. And everyone that hears this would put that on their car, their spouse's car, every car. And we teach people where to go to find the people to say, hey, yeah, I'll just drive around and you can get phone calls and give me a little finder's fee. And so that's one thing that I know that people don't do. And then obviously, you know, my one of my favorite channels of the 33 that we do. And imagine suffocating your city from a motivated seller standpoint, 33 ways, not just 2 or 3, 33 ways. This isn't a fair fight at that point. Is delinquent tax. So you know as well as I do, my favorite technique is delinquent tax, delinquent property tax.
Yep.
The reason for that is, for everybody that hears this will haunt you. Sorry for wrecking your Thanksgiving here. What kind of houses march towards tax sale? Free and clear houses. Because if it's Jason and Joshua Bank with a $200,000 loan, if they're behind on taxes because states put laws in place to supersede our first mortgage, we're going to foreclose on them. So the ones that are still left over are typically free and clear mortgages, meaning that you can strike almost any type of deal on any technique. I don't care if it's subject to, owner financing, straight cash offer. But when there's tons of equity, you can do that, right? And but everybody does the same thing. You're going to lose your house at tax sale. So let me put some, you're getting ready to lose your house at tax sale.
Tell me a little bit more about if someone wants to learn more of these off-market techniques. If I got 4 or 5 in my tool belt. Most people got 3 to 6, somewhere in that range. You got 33 to use and deploy, which I think is awesome. And you just dropped a few new ones that I hadn't even heard of yet. Tell me a little bit about, and tell everyone in the audience about how they can learn more. There you go, 2dayblueprint.com. The next one is when?
Our next one's December 5th and 6th. Like I said, we got some big gurus that most people follow that'll be there. And so it's just the number 2dayblueprint.com. You can schedule a call, or I do what most people don't do. I'm going to type in my cell phone. Hey, how you doing, Julie? You can give me a call or shoot me a text message. Yeah, they know what we do. And so yeah, we'll help you tear a hole in your marketplace. Once we hit go, point blank, the competition will feel you overnight and there ain't shit they can do about it.
Dude, I love it. Well, I'm going to try to make the next one. If it's not the next one, then it's definitely January.
Yeah, December 5th and 6th, and then January 23rd and 24th are the next ones.
That's amazing. Dude, thank you so much for being on today and dropping that gold, my man. Happy Thanksgiving. I look forward to the next time that we talk.
Sounds good. See you guys. Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye, buddy. Next up, Mr. Jesse Burrell. What is happening, my dude? How you doing?
What is going on? My favorite person in the world. How are we doing today?
Wow, that's pretty good right there. I'm your favorite person. You're definitely one of mine, buddy. Dude,
What's up, man?
How's everything out there?
Everything's busy, man. Doing good, getting ready for the holidays. So super excited.
Dude, awesome. So if you guys don't know, Jesse is from Batch. They started as Batch Skip Tracing and then Batch Lead Stacker, and they continue to evolve. They continue just to drop so much value for us real estate investors. Jesse, I've said it to everyone before, but you are one of the people that's definitely changed my life and my business the most, just from the knowledge you've given me behind the scenes when we talk. So I'm excited to have you on today just to drop some gold on everyone else. Talk to me. There was a good discussion the other day talking about data, and then we talked for a few minutes about this. Eli in our group asked how many times should I call? And then how many of those numbers for my skip tracing should I call? Should I go 1 through 10? Should I just go to 5? What should it be? Give me a little rundown on that.
Yeah. So obviously you're going to get with skip tracing between 1 and 10 phone numbers. And we've ran data reports and analysis and a lot of different things to where 94% of the right party contacts or the right phone numbers are going to be in the first 2 phone numbers. So people normally say top 3, top 4. It's definitely top 2, guys. The other thing is if you're newer and getting started, if a lot of people are doing the first, second, or third, it might be worth you to go dig a little bit deeper because a lot of people are throwing away those extra phone numbers. And that's still 6% or so, 6, 7, 8% of accuracy. So I guess it just kind of depends where you're at on your business. If you're in that scaling phase, you obviously want to do top 2 numbers. I wouldn't even do the third if I were you. If you're just getting started doing some cold calling on your own or some texting on your own or whatever that looks like, I think it's worth hitting a few of those extra numbers, especially with the cold calling. It's just a little bit more time to potentially get a hold of someone that no one else has got a hold of yet. And those are the type of people in our industry, that we want to talk to.
Yeah, I feel you there. Okay, so what if we call the first 2 and we text them and nothing, and we mail them and nothing? What are your next steps from there? It's a situation I run into a lot.
I mean, you just have to put together a marketing strategy. So a lot of things that we would do would be week 1 would be cold call, week 2 would be text, week 3 would be RVM. And it just depends how much data you're cycling through. But let's say you do those 3, that's kind of like omni-channel marketing. Let's say you do those 3. I still think for the people that don't respond or you don't get a hold of, that's still data you paid for. I still think you should be touching them at least once a quarter with at least 1 or 2 of those channels because we're in the game of timing and you never know what someone's situation looks like. And you want to be in touch with people. And if you pay for these leads and pay for the skip tracing numbers or data, you really want to keep touching them until they say no or else they say wrong number. But I still think it's just a game of consistency. And that's where the people that really thrive in this business is they have a plan and they have a consistency to that plan. And also you can pivot that plan, but I would still say that you should be touching these people, in my opinion. I mean, you pay for the data and you pay for the thing. So that's how I see it. And that's how I've seen a lot of friends be successful, including myself.
You have, I think you have your pulse on the finger of what goes on in our industry incredibly, incredibly well because your business, because of your personal network too, right? Tell me a little bit about what you think is trending upward for next year in terms of marketing channels, and tell me a little bit of what you think might be trending downward on what's working.
I see everything cycles. Everybody got off mail, people are on mail again. Texting's been hit pretty heavy, but I still have a lot of friends that are doing 10 plus deals a month. So the texting is still great to get a hold of people, and I think it's a great channel to have. But for scaling up your business, I just think it's a piece now. A lot of people had it as their one all be all. And I think it's just a piece of the marketing channel. And obviously, Batch Leads has texting and that's a big part of us. But let's say you are using us, you have to have other channels because it's not going to be, texting should not be the only channel anymore. And for a while there, a lot of people were very dependent on that being their one marketing channel. Yep. And I don't think any successful wholesaler should have one marketing channel. I think you should do mail. I think you should do having a driving for dollars team or a door knocking team. As the guy that was on right before, he was great. I mean, he has 32 marketing channels, or 33 or whatever. That's crazy. But that's the way to do it. You have to have a lot of them. You have to test them, and you have to see what you like the best depending on your budget. Yeah,
absolutely. I want to jump around really quick. One of the key things that inside what I still call the stacker, but inside a batch, one of the key things that has been huge for us is using it as our leads in our marketing database. And so when we're pulling these gigantic lists, guys, when we're pulling a 10,000 name list or a 15,000 name list, it's really, really hard not to pull that same name again. So it's not really preventable, in my opinion. But what is preventable is not skip tracing that lead again. And every time I update a big list and go to skip trace, it's like, it found like 600 or 800 duplicate leads, and I was able to save $200, $300 per time on skip tracing. So that is one really understated feature inside a batch, in my opinion. And then we've really been honing in on niching down on some of our lists, particularly return mail and then vacant and then owned a long time. So I think those are a few of the things that have been really game changers for us inside of Batch. What else would you say is that sort of game changer for people that haven't used Batch before?
So what you just mentioned, actually, when you're pulling a big list and you don't want to be pulling the same people, we actually do have lists inside of Batch Leads. So what it will do with your new list is it won't pull that lead for you, but it will tag it to that list. So you're not pulling the list, but it will still show that you have it. And it will show that, let's say it's you're pulling a vacant list. It will show that it's vacant now when you're pulling that list, but it won't charge you for that list. So you're not, let's say you're trying to pull something that's 10,000, you already have 3,000 of those records, you're only going to be pulling 7,000 records from our database, but it will still tag it to whatever your whatever that niche list is, so you can stack it properly, and it will show that it is one of those other distress points, which is something kind of cool that we just rolled out.
Dude, that's really cool. We have to get you on one time to talk about the list. I haven't even explored it myself yet, and I know I'm missing out.
Yeah, Propstream just did a great job. They have great lists. I don't want to sit here and just plug the hell out of our products. I'd rather just give some value on what's working inside of wholesale and what a lot of people are doing for success right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're limited on time. Just got another minute or two, but give us another gold nugget, something that may be working, something that may be kind of overlooked in other people's markets as far as marketing is concerned.
So was it Jason who was on before?
Yeah.
He gave some really good nuggets, especially with that bandit sign thing. So I got something a little bit creative for you guys too. I've been seeing people have some success with. So in Phoenix, I'm just going to use Phoenix for an example, but land is really popular right now. A lot of people are building, the market's growing, and I have friends that are really niching down on lists, and they're going a little bit further. Instead of just sending mail, they're stuffing it personally and sending letters of intent to raw land. And they're getting between 3 and 5 deals a month, and they're getting really big rips off this. They're niching down on, what type of multifamily land it is. It could obviously just be single family land, but they're getting, 7-figure deals off of, larger parcels, because they're sending out an LOI. It's just taking it a step further. So they're, they'll do 100 a week, but them actually just doing it, putting their card in, having a little handwritten thing. If you're willing to do a little bit of extra things, I have a few friends that are really, really crushing it with LOIs for vacant land, both multifamily and single family.
Dude, I love that. That's just a little bit different. It's a little bit of a pivot on something everyone else is doing. So LOI in the mail to vacant land to build multifamily, right? And
if you get that land, I am developing and building multifamily, so please send it to me.
If you find any vacant land, reach out to Jesse, guys. Dude,
Josh, happy Thanksgiving, brother. I appreciate you for having me on. Thank you so much, brother.
Dude, happy Thanksgiving. If you guys haven't checked out Batch Leads yet, you must. It is it probably is the central piece in our business for how we organize and deploy everything. So Jesse,
if someone wants to try it out, I just put the link in there. You can try it out for 2 weeks. It's $1. You get 500 free text messages. It's really cool. You get to preview the whole platform with all the stuff in there. Check it out, guys.
batchleads.io/underground. Dude, that's amazing. Jesse, thank you so much for being on, my man. Happy Thanksgiving. I look forward to talking to you again.
You as well. See you soon.
Later, buddy.
Bye.
Woo! Guys, we're rolling here. We're rolling. All right, next up, we have my buddy, Mr. John Martinez. John, sorry, buddy, I'm a few minutes late, but there he is.
Yeah, totally cool.
There, oh man, right in front of the Christmas tree. Look at you.
Yeah, got it all set up for you.
Dude, that's amazing. Well, John, thank you so much for being on today. No offense to anyone else, but I saved the best for last right here. John is definitely one of the guys that has changed my business and my life for the best. He has opened my eyes to sales. I don't know what I was doing before John, probably 2.5 years ago, but it wasn't what I'm doing now. John, thanks so much for being here, my man. Let me start off with this. What's the difference in your eyes between someone who's successful in sales and real estate investing versus someone who just kind of flounders or really burns out?
I think if you're successful, actually, let me start with unsuccessful. I think if you're unsuccessful in sales, you believe and lean on it just being a numbers game. And if you're successful, you really understand how much control you have with the sales process and the sales conversations you have. If you're unsuccessful, you try to go very, very wide and just generate as many leads as possible and hope that you kind of back into a deal. And if you're successful, you get a little bit more surgical, laser targeted, and you maximize every lead. So I think it's just kind of two different mindsets, depending on whether or not you have your sales skills honed in.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that there's a difference. One of the biggest things that I picked up from you was the sales process, right? And in your boot camp, you talk about a car assembly line, and you can't move on to the next thing until the other step's done. And so that process is really what you hammered into me, and still when I continue to watch your videos. But I also know that there's a difference in questions that good investors ask versus questions that you might not ask if you've been to your boot camp. Talk about the kinds of questions that people should be asking when on appointments or virtually.
Yeah, so a lot of our stuff goes back initially to the studies that Huthwaite did on sales and that developed spin selling. And that was really the original research on sales. And the researchers went into that really studying sales and who had success in sales, thinking that it was closing was all that sales was about. So people who had the most closing training or knew the most types of closes were going to be the most successful. Fast forward, what they found was the more people tried to close or the more training they had on closing, the less successful they were. And what they had discovered were the only difference between the great salespeople and everyone in the middle to lower third of the pack were the questions that they asked. And really, the types of questions really had to do with, if there was one type of question that was more impactful than anything else that led to sales success, it's what spin selling calls implication questions, is what we call impact questions. And really it's just diving down on someone's motivation and really finding personal compelling reasons why they would do business with you. So for example, just put in the real estate world, amateur or mediocre kind of investor acquisition agent would just treat motivation like a checkbox and say, hey, why are you selling? And they'd say, I'm sick of being a landlord. But the great salespeople would ask 3 or 4 impact questions after that. Well, why are you tired of it? What does that mean? How long have you been thinking about getting out of it? Why is that important to you? And they just go down that rabbit hole. And the more and more the seller or the prospect talks about the reasons why these things are important to them, it increases their urgency to take some type of action. It really turns up motivation. So when it comes to questions, there's a few different types you can ask to get really good at sales, but those impact questions or implication questions, those are what set the greats apart.
Yeah, man, that's so good right there. And I got to tell you, I saw you in Investor Fuel a couple of weeks back, but before that, we were at your mastermind. And that was one of the key takeaways that I had, was just from discussions with private people, is that we weren't diving into the impact questions and going deep enough. We were asking why, and then we were asking like another surface level question. But when you start to follow that rabbit hole down, well, why that? Why that? How would that make you feel? How would that impact what you told me about where you want to be? Made a huge difference in the conversations that we have. So talk to me a little bit, we just got a few more minutes here, but talk to me a little bit about real estate. Is a little bit different from what we call sales, right? Because we're actually trying to buy, right? How does it stack up in terms of other sales? Like what might differentiate someone from being good in real estate sales versus someone else? I'm trying to build a team, right? And when I'm building a team, I'm talking to some other people that have sold software and insurance. And it's become apparent to me that because they've been in sales, it doesn't stack up to success in real estate. How is it different? What kind of things should we look for when building our team?
Yeah, man, that's an awesome observation. And it's true. Sales success in one industry doesn't always translate into another, especially, B2B and B2C. Real estate is really a business to consumer. You're going direct to the residential owner. Business to business is a completely different animal. Longer sales cycles, more surface layer conversations, just more professionalism. And I'm not saying professionalism like it's a good or bad thing, but I'm just saying it's very generic conversations for the most part, and very hard to go deep with your prospects. So sometimes that doesn't translate over into business to consumer sales. It is all still sales. All I think of sales is assisting someone through the decision-making process. And it doesn't matter if you're cutting the check or you're receiving a check, you're still walking through the same process, right? You got to dive into what will motivate them to do business with you. What are all the reasons why they'd say yes? And then also walk through all the reasons why they'd say no. What can get in the way? What concerns do they have? You know, risks, discomforts. Who's going to be in their ear talking to them about yes or no, or making recommendations. So it's the exact same process. Who's cutting the check is irrelevant. So if I'm looking for someone who's successful, I want to find someone, number one, who treats an interview just like a sales process. That interview process, they're selling themselves. So what I'm going to look for are just the key traits to my sales process, right? Or the sales process that I want them to use, and see if they use it naturally. So, you know, if I'm asking them, if I'm talking to them, I'm going to see if they dive a little bit deeper into what I'm looking for. And if they go 1 or 2 or 3 layers deep, I'm going to go into all the reasons why they may not choose me. I'm going to look for that to see if they try to find out what their weaknesses are and overcome them, just like we would with objections or deal killers. Most importantly, I would say, would be the close, right? When it comes down to the end, are they going to accept some type of, you know, I'd probably, if I was the interviewer like you, I'd say, okay, listen, we'll think about it. We'll call you back. I'd look for the person who wouldn't accept that and try to set clear next steps or some type of guidelines and take control over those next steps. So I would treat the interview just like the sales process. And I would just see, are they using the same tactics, techniques, and strategies that I want them to use in the field? And I'd see if they had them naturally or not. Because if they have them naturally, that translation into real estate is going to be super simple.
Yeah, that's really good. That was what you just talked about there was part of, I think my biggest takeaway from your sales training was that you were actually teaching us to bring up, why might this not work? Or why might you say no? Or you said before you wanted to list it with a realtor, you should probably think about doing that. Just pulling up these reasons that they wouldn't do a deal with us and laying them out, making them talk about it. For me, that was a revelation, but it has changed conversations quite significantly.
Yeah, I think, you know, objections or deal killers, whatever you want to call them, are even more important than the motivation. You know, if you're talking to someone about their house, there's some level of motivation there, right? We take that for granted. There's some type of motivation, or else the conversation wouldn't be taking place. But the real differentiator is really bringing up those objections. If you fail to bring them up front and deal with them, then you're going to throw out an offer. If there's any objections, they're going to say no or give you some form of maybe or think it over. And you'll probably never have a chance to dive into them. And some of those objections or deal killers, you might be able to easily handle if you just knew they existed, right? So you're right. I think diving into all the reasons why someone wouldn't want to do business with you right up front really puts you light years ahead of your competition and increases your chances of closing anything out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. All right, one more question. What is one question, or what is, hold on there. What is one question, something simple that people are maybe overlooking, that if you're new or just really trying to ramp up your sales knowledge, what is something that someone could start to use that would automatically make them better, or at least they would be asking a better question or getting a better answer?
Yeah, if there is one question, this is my favorite question to ask in sales. And it's when you say blank, what do you mean? And that one question will change your sales game. And the way to use it is whenever someone gives you a sign of motivation, ask that 2, 3, 4 times, right? Hey, I'm sick of the repairs on this place. Where you say you're sick of it, what do you mean? Well, you know, I had to put a ton of money into this. It's just everything's breaking down. Well, give me an example. And just going deeper and deeper. So my favorite all-time question to go at least one level deeper with the conversation is when you say blank, what do you mean? Anyone can ask it. It applies to almost any situation universally. You know, help you get down to those personal levels that really separate the average salesperson from the best.
Dude, that's great stuff. So simple, but really, really good. John, I've learned so much from you, and you know, it's impossible to take away huge lessons in a short time like this. But if someone's looking to up their sales game, I know you offer some training. Where should they go? What should they do? Because hands down, the money that I've invested with you has come back probably 100-fold, and that's not a lie. So if someone's looking to up their sales game, where should they go?
Yeah, our website's midwestrev.com. It's short for Midwest Revenue. So Midwest, REV as in Victor.com. We've also got a YouTube channel. Just search for Midwest Revenue Group or the REI Sales Academy. Tons of free videos and trainings on there as well.
That's awesome. And I know you haven't, last year, you like kind of took the year off. You weren't doing anything. Yeah. And you're notorious for doing a little work, but getting big results, right? But I know you have something in person coming up.
Yeah, we've got a boot camp in January at the Gaylord in Dallas. Pick the Gaylord because we get massive conference rooms and do the social distancing and all that, and be as safe as possible while still getting, some good live in-person training.
That's amazing. Guys, I wholeheartedly believe in John's training. If you're looking to up your sales training, there's no doubt that the money that you'll spend with him will come back to you if you're a serious real estate investor. John, thank you so much for being here, my man. You're amazing as always. Happy holidays to you and your family and your new son. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday season, and I hope to talk to you again.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. I have got a little bit of a sore throat now. I need to go get some coffee, but I really appreciate all of you guys being on here today. I hope that the guests have dropped some gold, some actionable stuff that you can go use. If you're looking to up your game in terms of more leads, you're looking to convert more of those leads and opportunities, and you're looking to close more sales, I've given you some people here that you can lean into. Everyone that I've had on today, I wholeheartedly endorse. They wouldn't be here if they weren't a go-giver. They wouldn't be here if they couldn't add money to your business, because they've all added money to my business. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. I appreciate you, and I look forward to talking to you again. Take care.